Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we are taking on Ambush CP-9 and the 60 stamina clash with 3 different teams for you guys. So I got a request to hop back into this event, and with content sort of a little bit dry on OPTC Global at the moment, I thought let's bring the content. Let's bring that content. So I've got 3 more teams for you guys against this ambush and the clash. Now the clash is pretty easy. Like, the clash isn't the problem, it's the ambush that you need to worry about. But basically, as long as you bring a friend Shanks crew, you will be fine. This sort of content was built to satisfy Shanks crew, as you can only bring quick and Psy units, especially if you want to get the ambush done. So the CP-9 unit is a fairly good unit, especially for free to play, and they have a super evolution, which means that you can actually farm up their original and their super evolution and use them on sort of different teams depending on what colors you need. They do slightly different things, but nothing too drastic. For free to play units that you can get the limit break materials for and rainbow out fairly easily, it's worth the time. So the first team I have for you guys is led by Komorosaki. Obviously, as I mentioned, we are bringing a Shanks crew with all of these teams, and I'll leave timestamps in the description below for you guys as well, just so if you want to sort of find a team that you think would work best for you, or if you want to use a character as a leader, you guys can find it nice and quickly. I'll also leave in the description below links to the other videos that I have for this particular piece of content. We have a video up that doesn't use Orobi and doesn't use Okiku. There's a free-to-play team, and then there's a video with 3 other teams. I think it's like Carrot, Shanks crew, and V3 Law. But in this video today, I sort of fast-forwarded the clash, as the clash is pretty, I wouldn't say self-explanatory, but it's pretty simple. Basically, just get to Lucci. You can use your Shanks crew specials after you remove the block orbs, and Shanks crew's end of turn damage basically just wins for you. On each of these teams, we are using Corazon or V2 Rayleigh as a support on our Luffy or our Law units. That's probably the biggest thing that needs to be noted moving in before we get into the ambush, but we'll talk about that once we get to it. So there we go, we got Komorosaki and Shanks crew finishing off the clash there. Now we can move into the ambush. Alright, so against the ambush CP-90, they do quite a lot of different things. At the beginning, we get special blinded for 10 turns, but using a friend Shanks crew just removes that. So that's another benefit to using Shanks crew. At the end, we get chain coefficient reduction, so having a chain locker helps us out a lot. And the fact that we don't have normal attacks only means that Shanks, as a captain, gets his crazy big end of turn damage. On stage 2, we have a couple of marine lackeys that have quick and Psy barriers. I'm pretty sure on all of my teams here I have a way of sort of bypassing barriers, but not overly necessary, as we can get majority of the orbs. But barrier pen does help out quite a lot, or the switchability of Laffy, as you saw there, helps out quite significantly as well. Problem with this particular ambush is there isn't a lot of chance to stall. The most chance we have to stall is actually on this particular stage here against Bluno and the other 2 CP-9 units. Cannot remember their names. So Bluno puts up 99 turns of Rainbow Shield. The guy in the front puts up 99 turns of self-healing. And then they bind your right units for, I think it's 5 turns, so it goes down to 2 with sockets. And that's where we had the support of Corazon on our Laffy unit to remove that there. So we're just going to use our normal attacks and using the switchability of Shanks crew here to get an attack boost. And that way with our blue units, we can just whittle away at the HP of the 3 CP-9s. Majority of this content is actually is actually strength, so bringing quick units is going to help out quite a lot. Obviously, we can only bring quick and Psy units, but when you're building your teams, you sort of want to focus on building as many quick units on the team as possible, as you're going to have color affinity pretty much the entire fight. Alright, so now that we're down to the end here against Bluno, we can take out Bluno fairly simply just by using our normal attacks here. Bluno's on a 4-turn cooldown as well, which helps out quite a lot. You can use the switch ability of Laffy as well to bypass the defensive effects, which is really, really strong as well. So on to the next stage now, we have the rest of the CP-9 gang. We have Lucci, Kaku, Jabra, and Khalifa. Now, Jabra puts up 99 turns of defense up. So using Laffy's special here just kills Jabra, which actually removes that defense up. So having a way to kill Jabra before you can attack is going to maximize your damage output. As you see there, we kill them all except for Lucci and Kaku in the front. They don't do too much after turn 1. They do hit you quite hard as they put up the double damage debuff, but nothing that Shanks' crew can't handle. Komorosaki also is a healer on Perfects, which is great, which means that we can just keep our health at a nice stable level, as well as using crew for damage reduction. I'm pretty sure, does Komorosaki have damage reduction as well? She might have damage reduction too. Bobbins on this team is actually replaceable with anyone you like, or you could actually replace Robin with any paralysis removal you like, depending on what you guys have in your box. I've totally forgot that Robin removes his Rainbow Shield, so I brought Bobbins on this team to remove that without remembering that Robin is that damn good. So when we get to Spandam at the end, he puts up 3 turns of Rainbow Shield. He paralyzes us for 3 turns. And that's about all he does for the first turn. He is going to res back though. So make sure you save some specials to make sure you have the damage output. But using Shanks' switch ability, we can get the attack buff. Using his special, we can get a massive HP cut as well as a 3.5 times chain lock. And then we can use Okiku to give us color affinity. Finally, we can use Robin to remove all those nasty debuffs. And then with our normal attacks, we can just destroy Spandam. So on the revive against Spandam, we still have our Komorosaki special, which means we can get a 2 times attack and a 2 times orb boost. But Spandam is going to gloom us for 5 turns and reduce our chain coefficient by 2 turns. So using Shanks' crew's special ability means that we can hang on to our chain lock, and then with Komorosaki and Okiku we can get color affinity, attack, and an orb boost and just wipe out Spandam. Easy claps. So there you guys go. That was the Komorosaki and Shanks' crew team. Let's hop into the next team now. So the next team I have for you guys is a V3 Rayleigh team, obviously again using a Shanks crew friend. So I put together a fighter and cerebral based team using a few different units from what you saw in the last video, but I did bring Robin again, as she's just so good for the final stage against Spandam in the ambush. Plus, I don't know if that Chopper Man mission came out again, but when this event originally dropped, there was a mission to beat it with a Robin on your team, so that'll satisfy the requirements for that. So on this team, we have Rayleigh as our leader, and I think on this particular run, we don't even use Rayleigh's special, but you definitely can, especially on the Lucci and Kaku stage, just for a little bit more damage output if you need. We have the original Tank Man as a sub for our 2 times attack boost, as well as bringing the V2 Rayleigh support. We have the Corazon support on Law as well. Then we have the V2 Law 6+, the Cerebral Orb Booster. We're going to be using him in the same way that we used Laffy to just take out Jabra. And then we have Rare Recruit Pedro on this team for a attack and an orb boost. Very similar to Komorosaki's, just not as strong. So basically, we're just going to make our way through the actual raid. When you get to stage 3, you can just use Law's special to just wipe the stage. We don't really need his special moving forward. But unfortunately, we do get stuck with a bunch of block orbs. So we are going to have to get rid of those block orbs on the Lucci stage here. We're just going to do our single taps, and then we can drop our Shanks crew special on the second turn. And basically just using Shanks crew special is enough to take out Lucci. Lucci does have resilience, but so if you do have a way to get rid of those block orbs, you can do that on the first turn. But not overly terrible taking that first shot, as Rayleigh and Shanks crew have damage reduction, as well as utilizing the Magello ship, we have just so much damage reduction on this particular team. Again, once you move into the final stage, literally just Shanks Crew special is enough to take out Spandam and the lackeys in the back. But we are going to use our Rayleigh special here just for an attack and an orb boost for the entire team, making it a little bit easier just to take out Spandam's HP pool. Just make sure you guys hit your perfects and everything will be fine. Alright, on to the ambush now, what everyone has come to see. So, again, as I mentioned, stalling on this particular piece of content is a little bit of an issue. So that 10 turns of special blind being removed by Shanks is incredibly handy. I think you can stall on that, the girl in the middle there, but just with these particular teams that I've made, you don't actually need it. If you do need to stall on at all, you can use Okiku on the left-hand side if you don't have the supports of Corazon or V2 Rayleigh. V1 Rayleigh. Oh, actually, sorry, on this particular team, we don't have the V1 Rayleigh support because we're using V3 Rayleigh. Good job, Stumped. But not overly necessary, as we only need one of them. You can use Halloween Ace on Luffy if you don't have Corazon Max. What was I saying before that? Totally lost my train of thought now. But yeah, having a Luffy or having a Law on any of your teams is just going to help you out significantly. Oh yeah, that's right. If you are planning to stall, you can stall on that girl in the middle there, and then have someone like a Kiku who removes the bind on the left-hand side if you need it for this particular stage coming up right now. Now, this particular stage here is where you could use your Rayleigh special. As I mentioned, I don't think I actually used it in this particular run, but you could definitely use it on this particular stage just to make life a lot easier in going through that rainbow shield. That way you could definitely take out more than one of these units. But I would most likely use it on turn number 2. Or just on the turn where you know you're going to kill the guy in the front to get rid of that auto heal. But in saying that, you will need to stall out on that girl in the front to get Rayleigh's special back. Probably just use it on the last turn here against Bluno, just to make sure that you take out Bluno. Bluno can hit you fairly hard. But again, we do have quite a lot of damage reduction with this particular team. Any team that can use Magello as a ship, I'm literally always going to use Magello. Unless they're like a dual unit that switches out of the Psy or Invariant. But whenever I'm running someone like V3 Law, V3 Rayleigh, any of the int characters like Katakuri or Blackbeard, I'm always going to be using the Magello ship for that extra damage reduction, just to make life just a little bit easier and a little bit safer when you're running majority of content. So as you guys see here, unfortunately we don't actually kill Bluno, so using that Rayleigh special would have been way more intelligent. But I was sort of trying to think ahead and thinking that I did need it at some point, but we didn't. So on the Luffy, actually, now that I am remembering this particular run, we have the Valentine's Nami support. That is very important to remove the gloom that gets inflicted on the final stage. So make sure you have a support that can remove that somehow. So against Jabra, Lucci, Kaku, and Caulifla, we are again going to utilize the AoE damage of a Law unit, being the Cerebral V2 Law, just to kill Jabra in the back. Once Jabra dies, just gets rid of the damage reduction, the defense up, which just means we can actually do damage on this particular stage. But because we have the Orb boost of Law, and we managed to give Law the Orb with the switchability of Shanks Crew, we can actually kill Lucci and Caulifla in the same turn. As I mentioned, Kaku doesn't do too much, so we can just take him out on the second turn, as majority of this team is the quick variation. So moving into the final stage now against Spandam, we are going to use our Pedro special on this particular stage. so that way we can get a 1.75 attack and 1.75 times orb boost. We're going to use Robin again to remove the Rainbow Shield and the Paralysis, and then we can switch with our Shanks crew last to make sure that we get 2 matching orbs, as well as using his special to give us a 3.5 times Chain Lock and that massive 4.5 times Captain ability his. The end of turn damage of Shanks for this particular stage is ridiculously strong as well. As I mentioned in the first video, or the first part of the video, there is no normal attacks only, and Shanks crew as a captain, especially with the Cotton Candy update and like support units and stuff. Obviously as a friend unit we don't have the supports, but mainly with Cotton Candy, that extra end of turn damage, I think my Shanks crew can do up to like 3 million with the right support, which is just nuts. The fact that you can use 3 million damage just to all enemies just by hitting 6 perfects just makes like V2 Akainu look like a chump. Ridiculous. But moving into the final stage against Spandam on the revive, we are going to use that Luffy special with the Nami support to remove the Gloom. That way we can get the attack buff, and then that way we can just kill Spandam. All we need is the attack buff. We have a few matching orbs, which is great, but like I said, the end of turn damage of Shanks crew is just going to wipe Spandam. So yeah, 2.4 million end of turn damage, which just makes it easy claps. Now on to the final variation, and unfortunately I forgot to hit record before I jumped into the event and quickly jumped in and put on the recorder as we entered the event, so apologies about that. But the final team I have for you guys is a Soba-Mask team, so we are using Soba-Mask as our captain and Shanks crew again as the sub. Soba-Mask being a rainbow captain helps out a lot, as we can just throw any units that we need to remove the debuffs and to get around the particular piece of content. This team is fairly free-to-play friendly as well. The V3 Kuzan is replaceable pretty much with any orb booster, or you can replace him with any sort of color affinity booster. That should work well, but his barrier pen and his amazing special help us out fairly significantly on the Lucci and Kako stage, especially in the ambush. We have the free-to-play Clash Zoro. He is actually ridiculously handy to remove the Rainbow Shield, as well as giving us color affinity for slashes and drivens, mainly for our Shanks and Mihawk, as well as our Shanks crew. And then we have Shanks and Mihawk free-to-play unit as well, purely just for their switchability. That's basically the only reason they're here, plus they are a slasher. Finally, we have the rare recruit Luffy that came out with V3 lore. He's here so we can utilize the V2 Rayleigh support, V1 Rayleigh support, sorry, and the fact that he removes paralysis is very handy as well. This team is majority free spirit based, besides Zoro and Shanks crew, but because they are slashers, we can bring the Polar Tang. Now on stage 3 here, we did use the jump ability of Soba-Mask, so we could kill the guys in the back, and then we use the Zoro special to kill the guy in the front middle. Otherwise, those guys just do ridiculously amounts of damage. But if you do drop below 50% HP, you can use Shanks and Mihawk special to delay them for 2 turns and give yourself a self-proccing delay booster. On Lucci, we are going to use our Shanks crew special in the blue variant, and then we're going to use our Soba-Mask special to give ourselves an attack boost, as well as giving us a full board of T&D orbs. Finally, when we move into the final stage against Spandam and the Marines, we have the support of V1 Rayleigh on our Luffy unit to remove the bind and despair, and then we can use our Luffy special and our Kuzan special to just destroy the final stage here. This team has so much damage on this particular stage, and it actually doesn't even need the Shanks crew's end of turn damage depending on your orb rolls, but as long as you kill Spandam, Shanks crew will do the rest. We are using the Valentine's Day Nami support once again on our Soba-Mask, so make sure you have her attached to Soba-Mask, otherwise there is no way to get rid of the Gloom. Now you could probably replace Shanks and Mihawk with someone to remove the Gloom for you, but their switchability, especially on the stage where you get a whole bunch of empty orbs, helps out a lot. Like a lot. Their switchability is actually really good for a free-to-play unit, and you know me, I love Shanks, so any way I can find a way to put a Shanks on the team, I'm always going to. The Borsalino support that you just saw there is not essential whatsoever. It just makes getting orbs a little bit easier for the units that can't get orbs from Shanks' switchability, and makes us just remove these barriers a lot easier as well, especially if you don't have your barrier pen maxed on Kuzan. That way we can make sure that we take out the front 3 units easy claps. Unfortunately, that turtle in the back only has 4 HP, which means you can't stall on him, but you could possibly use one of those guys in the front to stall out if you need specials a little bit earlier. So against the Blue Nose stage, I'm going to call it the Blue Nose stage because I can't remember the other two. It's like, they're just hard names to say too. So we have V1 Rayleigh coming in there to reduce the bind. And then we can use our Shanks and Mihawk special to try and get some more orbs. Sorry, Shanks and Mihawk switch ability to get some more orbs. And then our Shanks crew special to guarantee us the orbs that we do or do not get. Kuzan also having the crewmate ability of keeping a quick orb helps us out quite a bit on this stage, as there is a lot of extra damage that we can output just purely by having that orb. And if you do use the switch abilities of Mihawk and Shanks, make sure you use it before you use the Shanks crew switch ability. That way you're just not sort of you're not having any crossover of orbs that may be matching but not the same color as the unit. So for example, like when Shanks is the Psy variant making quick orbs matching, the switch ability of Shanks and Mihawk will change that. So just make sure you use them before Shanks crew. That way you can guarantee yourself a few more orbs. So as you see there, just using the switch abilities just gives us just so many orbs. Of course it's RNG like all gacha games are, but it's just calculated RNG to be honest, and majority of the time you are going to get a full board of orbs. Or at least like 75% of the orbs. Alright, so onto the Lucci stage with the rest of the CP-9 units. We are going to lose all of our orbs unfortunately, and Jabra is going to put up the defense up. So we're going to use Sanji or Soba-Mask's jump ability here to kill Jabra. We can use the switch ability of Mihawk and Shanks to give us some orbs, and then finally the switch ability of Shanks crew for an attack boost and guaranteeing 2 orbs. So make sure you attack with Soba-Mask first against Jabra to kill him to remove the defense up. And then with the rest of our units, we can take out Caulifla. We are going to take quite a bit of damage from Lucci and Kaku, but nothing that Shanks crew can't handle with the defense up. And then on the second turn, we are going to use our V3 Kuzan special, as well as the switch abilities of our Shanks and Mihawk and Shanks crew for orbs and the attack boost. With that, we just have so much goddamn damage that we can just take out Lucci and Kaku. Fairly easy claps. You don't even need the orb boost at the final stage either, which is great. So moving into the final stage against Spandam, we are going to use our Luffy special here to remove the paralysis and give us an attack boost, a 2x attack boost for our free spirits and fighter units. Then we can use the switch ability of our Shanks crew after that. And then we can use our Zoro special to remove the rainbow shield, giving our slashes color affinity. And then Shanks crew special is going to do a huge HP cut and give us the 3.5 times chain lock. Using Shanks crew on the first stage of Spandam is fairly important too, as on the revive we get that chain coefficient reduction, which is huge. So you need to make sure you have some sort of chain locker to remove that. But once we kill Spandam the first time, we are going to use our Soba-Mask special on the next turn, and that is just going to give us a full board of TND orbs for the 4.25 times multiplier. It's going to trigger the Nami support to remove the gloom, and then we can just destroy Spandam. You don't really need this special of Shanks and Mihawk, but just gives them a bit of a higher stat boost, and that's the reason why I use them. So there you guys go. There were 3 more teams to take down the CP-9 raid and ambush event. As I mentioned, there will be timestamps in the description below, as well as links to my original videos on taking this down if you guys need any other unit ideas to destroy this content. So farm them up, as there's 2 different variants. But as I mentioned, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit the like button if you want to stay up to date with more OPTC content I post. Hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lights!